All right, welcome to another edition of Fox 10 Talks, but this time we're talking sports. So it's Fox 10 Talk Sports, the fun stuff. I'm Richard Saenz, and just to get some, familiarity here, this is Mark Malerich, my guy. Mark Malerich is our executive sports producer in the Fox 10 Sports. So, Mark, you and I go way back. We've been working together 22 years since I've been here. You've been here before me.
25.
Yeah, so we've talked a lot of sports, but before it hit the Fox local app, that's for sure, right? Before that was even a thought of.
Just back in the office.
Yeah.
This is what we do in the office, so might as well do it and bring it to you guys.
And we've known each other for so long. Just for people at home that are watching, his daughter calls me Uncle Richard, right? I'm the cool uncle, right? I'm always the uncle that has cash. We always hook her up. She's now playing sports. She's playing volleyball. We're always talking sports, and that's the great thing about our gig, right? We get paid to talk about sports for a living. That's one of the things that I remember when I interviewed at Fox 10. They were asking me, "Why do you want this job?" I said, "Well, you're going to pay me to talk about sports. Why wouldn't I want the job?"
Well, exactly, and it's what we get to do every day. It's what we love, and for more background, I moved here as a kid from Michigan in 1987. So I was a Pistons fan as a kid, and then you move here, and I'm like, nope, I live in Arizona. I'm going to adopt the Phoenix Suns. So I was here during the Hornacek, KJ, Marley, Chambers era, and then in the Barkley era. And so I've seen a lot of Suns basketball. I know that's what we're going to talk about today.
Exactly.
But yeah, what we get to do is great, and working together. We did it on the weekends. We're doing it during the week now. It's always fun, and we hope that you at home enjoy what we do, because ultimately that's what we do it for.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is, like I mentioned, we get to get paid to talk about sports, and Mark does all the editing, all the producing, all the behind the scenes stuff, and a lot of people think I have the better gig, but actually I think he does, because he doesn't have to wear the monkey suit like I do. He doesn't have to wear makeup like I do. So he just comes in with his cap on.
It's casual Friday every day. Casual Friday all day, every day.
Yeah, yep. Unless you're watching the Suns this year, then it's kind of a frustrating Monday, it seems like. Boy, what a year for the Suns. And it was funny because, when you look at, Mat Ishbia, he came in, hair on fire, new owner, fresh face, breath of fresh air. Everyone was so excited about him and the moves he was making. And to give him some credit, earlier today, he had his, press conference, talking to the media. And, we've seen a lot of the Lori Vallow trial. It looked like he was on trial, And the crazy part is he didn't have to do this. Like, how many times have we had other owners not talk after a season that was way worse than this?
Well, and what I think is interesting is the Suns put out a press release last night, and they said it's going to be Mat Ishbia, Josh Bartelstein, and James Jones. But Mat Ishbia comes out by himself first for what? You were there, half hour?
Right.
And took questions, made a statement. Obviously, he's disappointed, but he took it. He put, he let you guys ask away, and he took responsibility.
Yeah, and you got to give him credit for that. And I think that's one of the things that made this season so disappointing, was the expectation was set so high, and because of the moves that he made. And when he went out and got Kevin Durant, I don't remember anybody saying, "Oh, this is going to end horribly. This is going to be," So at the time, it seemed like good moves. But then, I get it. A lot of people look at, maybe an owner in Dallas by the name of Jerry Jones, and you're thinking, well, okay, is this guy, trying to do too much? He's not letting the people that he hired do his job. Mm-hmm. He talked about that. But the one thing that I do respect about him, like you mentioned, Mark, is that he took responsibility. He took the blame, mm-hmm. and he kind of addressed the elephant in the room right away. Let's take a listen to his opening comments, where he just said, look, it's on me, and we're going to get better.
First off, embarrassing season, right? Disappointed, awful. I watch every game like all of you guys do. No one's proud of it. No one's happy with it. From me to the front office, to the coaches, to the players, to the marketing executive, to the security guards. Everyone's disappointed, embarrassed, and it was a failure, right? We struggled. We didn't do a good enough job, and we got to do stuff different and change to be better. So there's no running from that. Obviously, I'm very disappointed. I think all of you guys are. It wasn't fun to watch, right? It wasn't fun to watch our team lose and not compete at the level that we all expected. And so, I'm here for it. I'm here to be accountable, just like, our players, coaches, front office, everyone is too. And so disappointing is the right word. Embarrassing, you can use whatever word you want to use on it, but not happy with the season.
Mark, what are your thoughts on that? When I heard that, I was like, wow, that was refreshing.
The one thing I take from that, in the middle of the soundbite, he said, we weren't fun to watch. And I go back to the 7 seconds or less days, the Steve Nash era. It was up and down basketball, free flowing, the ball moved. It wasn't that way this year, and I think in today's sports environment, you can't be boring. If win or lose, you have to be entertaining. People are spending so much money to come to these games, food, parking, all that stuff. If you spend all that money and you're a family that doesn't make that much, you spend $200-300 to get to a game, and you watch a 30-point blowout. I mean, that's not good.
Right. Right. And you kind of talked about, it wasn't fun. Right. And that's one thing that we saw when this franchise, this team went to the NBA Finals, right after the bubble, in 2021, they were having fun. They had Mikal Bridges, they had campaign, they were dancing. One guy falls, guys are coming off the bench, helping him up, and you could tell these guys cared about each other. Even before the game in the tunnel, they're getting pumped up, they're hyping each other up. We didn't see that this year.
Well, that kind of had like a college team vibe.
Exactly.
The guys that are similar in age, they're coming up together. They kind of gel, but then you almost feel like, oh, we probably can't get there with this group, so let's go get the adult in the room. Let's go get the man. Let's get Kevin Durant, bring him in, and see how it fits. And honestly, I thought Kevin Durant played fine for the Suns. I think he did what he was supposed to do. It's just everything else around him and Devin Booker didn't really jive. It didn't mesh like those guys did with Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, campaign, all those guys. It just didn't have that.
Yeah, there was a definite disconnect. Right, and it was a disconnect not only between some of the players, but between the coaches and the players. And Coach Bud is the first domino to fall. Look, I don't want to ever come out here and say that guy should be fired. I don't want anybody to get fired. But it was obvious a change had to be made, and it was obvious that he wasn't connecting with his team. Take, for example, the final home game. It's fan appreciation night. They're chanting for Bol to get into the game. He gets up, goes to the scorer's table. They're up by 20. The game's almost over. They call a timeout. They pull him back to the bench. Then they come back out. He's not in. It's like, what's going on? It was obvious, like something's going on between Bol and Coach Bud, and it's kind of a bummer to see that.
Well, and then we were even talking with Robbie back in the office, and that he never did any radio interviews. He never did any sidelines with Amanda Pflugred at halftime. It was always the assistants. It's like he was isolated from everything. And in his post-game press conferences, it was almost the same. It was the same answer. Well, they made more plays than we did. We'll get better next time. And it almost reminded me, we were talking about Steve Wilkes back in the day with the Cardinals. Yeah. That one year he was here, it was, we're going to look at the tape. We're going to look at the tape. Well, what did you find on the tape? Did you find anything?
Exactly.
Did you make any adjustments?
Right.
And I do feel bad for Coach Bud, because I thought this was going to be the perfect fit.
Yes.
He's from here. This is the team he's always wanted to coach.
Feel good
but
story.
But he never really looked like he was into it or enjoying it. You talk about the happiness with the team and the gelling. It just seemed like there was a lot of friction. Even going back to Yusuf Nurkic when they weren't speaking and then they trade him. It's like there wasn't a lot of answers throughout the season. And the one thing that we do see kind of opposite with ASU football, transparent. Kenny inviting people to the practices. I think that's, in today's day and age in sports, I think that's what you need. You need transparency. You need to be honest. People aren't dumb.
Yeah.
We have Twitter. We have X. We have all that stuff. We have social media. The players are going to tell us if you don't.
Right.
So why not just be open?
Right. You need transparency and you need an identity.
Yes.
Right. And that's what Mat Ishbia talked about today, was this team will have an identity moving forward. And that's one of the things he wants to address this offseason.
I want to put a team out there on the court that everyone's proud of. And proud of has to have an identity that's, similar to Phoenix, with some little bit of grit, some determination, some work ethic, some grind, some joy, and so we just haven't had that. We did it a different way and it didn't work. And so I will do a better job as the owner of setting the tone on the vision. Just like there's other organizations, you can talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, you kind of know what they mean when you talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, or even my old team, Michigan State basketball, you kind of know what you're going to get when you talk about Michigan State basketball. What is Phoenix Suns basketball? And so that's on me. That's a change that's coming, and it will be undeniable. You will know the difference next year.
Again, Mat Ishbia, that's on me. Your thoughts, Mark, on the job Mat Ishbia's done in his, 2.5 years?
Listen, he's been here 26 months, and I think he took over, and just going from where the bar was set before him to where it is now, you can't be disappointed as a fan. And he even mentions, all the things that he does as an owner besides basketball. Now, yes, you want wins and losses. That's it. Ultimately, you want wins on the court. But I think no owner in the history of the Suns franchise has won a championship. Ever.
Right.
So if I have to pick a guy that I think can do it, That's the guy I'm picking.
So you're not saying he's possibly the worst owner in the NBA
No,
history,
no.
like Stephen A. Smith, one of the members of the national media, said, which Mat Ishbia was asked about, and he kind of addressed that, and he said, I don't even think Stephen A. believes what he said. So and that was a tough question that Ishbia was asked, and this is how he handled it.
I think if you ask people in Phoenix, they'd probably think I'm a great owner. You know, the TV, all the games on TV for free, like that's a big profitability hit, but we led with that. I walked the concourse and realized the concession stand prices are crazy, and we lower the prices. Like that's what I think a great owner would do. Investing in the Mercury, you know, $100 million practice facility, like that's kind of what I think a great owner would do. You know, community. We brought the WNBA All-Star Game, we're bringing the NBA All-Star Game. We put millions of dollars into the community, doing a lot of things. Like I think that's my role. Now, let's be clear, winning is part of my job too, right? But you know, there's a lot of things a great owner would do, and to even put me in that category, I thought was disrespectful. And like I said, you know, we'll just move on from that. I don't really spend much time thinking about him.
Mark, your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
and that's what he was getting at. You know, he's going to do things other than win games. He does a lot for the community, which is great. And you know, the fact that he took responsibility, this is his baby, this is his team. He wants to win. He's a winner.
Right.
And he's going to get it right. He's going to get it right.
He might have won the press conference today, but this team did not win enough games, and that's the bottom line. And Mat Ishbia touched on that topic as well.
There's a lot of reasons. The way I look at it is, you know, I do think that we had a much better roster than a 36-win team, right? And I think on the court, every game, we did not play better than a 36-win team. We did not compete hard enough. We did not make adjustments well enough. There's a lot of things we could have done differently. But from my view, it ties to, you know, we didn't play the way a lot of other teams were playing, and really what we believe in here, which is with a lot of, you know, there's a lot of grit, defensive. I mean, you can talk about defense, was 28th in the league or whatever it was. Like, that's just not what we're going to be about, right? And so I think there's a lot of things, and there's a disconnect from what we believe we should be playing like and what we actually saw on the floor. And that's why we made one change so far, and we will make other changes to make sure that the Phoenix fans know what to expect and are proud of what we have out there.
Mark, how you feeling about that?
Yeah, additionally, he added that he's not afraid to pivot. Obviously, he's gone through a couple coaches in a few years that he knows if it's not going well, he's going to pivot. You don't make $5 billion being dumb. I think he's going to figure it out.
Yeah. All right. We call him Mally Mal. His last name's Malerich. Mark Malerich, Mally Mal. Thanks, Mally Mal, for joining us. Fox 10 Talk Sports. We're going to be doing this quite a bit. You know, we're talking Suns this week. Next week, we could be talking NFL Draft. That's right. The Cardinals will be on the clock with the 16th pick. I kind of like what they've done in the last couple of years, so we'll keep you posted. Thanks again for tuning in, and, of course, much more in the weeks to come.